is Shruti, and I am from University of South Australia. I am a business researcher. My last name is Sardeshmukh. That's Sardeshmukh. That's 11 letters. I used to have a middle name. I used to have a middle name. It was Ramchandra, R-A-M-C-H-A-N-D-R-A. So I just want to give you a taste. Psychoneuroendocrinological, electroencephalographic, anti-disestablishmentarianism, and Shruti They all have 27 letters. But I had to drop my middle name because it would fit on a passport form. So what I do is I love, let me go back. I love doing research, and there you go. There. That's me. That's me again. I love doing research, and I love spelling, of course. By this time, you would have figured out that I was made in India, and you would be right with that. You would have also figured out that I'm a bit of a nerd, so I love spelling, and you would be right with that. But what I do research, and I really, really love doing research about, is entrepreneurship and small businesses. So, now a better image. Here's me, supporting the local pizza shop. Here's me, supporting the local farmer's market. And here's me, supporting the local drug dealer. Have you noticed how good AI makes me look? So when you think about a scientist, you probably think about, a mad scientist in a lab coat, right? My husband, who's right here, he thinks I'm just like that. Minus the lab coat. So it's mad. So I research entrepreneurship and small business. What does that mean? In Australia, 10% or 1 in 10 Australians own their own business, right? That's about the same proportion of people who think they can fight a crocodile barehanded. Or the same proportion of people who think HTML is a sexually transmitted disease. People who buy Valentine's Day gifts for their pets. But, that's 1 in 10. So, there are at least 70 people out here. So I would say 7 of them, 10% should be small business owners, right? Mm-hmm. Who are we kidding? Small business owners don't have time to do this. All right, that's 1 in 10. 1 in 10 own a business. 4 in 10 want to own their own business. So again, I want to give you statistics. So that's about the same proportion of people who skip breakfast at least once a week. Or the proportion of boys born last year who were named Oliver. Or the proportion of time facts are made up on the spot. Maybe just under half of you might actually have aspirations of owning your own business or becoming an entrepreneur. So small businesses are really important. That is what I study. And 97%, more than 97% of all businesses in Australia and more than 99% of all businesses in South Australia are small businesses. And they're really, really important because, they keep us fed, they keep us hydrated, and they keep us addicted to drugs. Now, when I study small businesses, I study people who go and do their own, they have their own idea, they work on it, and then they make a living out of it, which is fantastic. Something like this. See, AI makes everyone look good. So my study looked at the challenge challenges of owning and running your own business. So that's the study I'm talking about. And this is what I found. Before I came to academia, I worked in a tech startup. I wrote code, and that was a small business. And that was in Boston. But unfortunately, that didn't last. And that's not uncommon. 1 in 7 businesses, 14% of all Australian businesses exit every year. So, that's part of life. And those numbers are even more brutal, really harsh for startups. So 60%, more than half, 60% of startups close in their first 3 years of life. And 1 in 5, 20% exit in the very first year itself. So my life basically is just a statistic. But that's okay, because that means I get to come here and I don't have to hang out with the tech bros in Boston. And you know what? All these tech types, they have this way of running sprints, like for work, where they work non-stop. But if anybody who has been to park run with me, I'm one of the slowest runners. I don't sprint. So so what do? I go and talk to business owners. I interview them, I survey them, I collect data from them, analyze them, and I figure out what makes them succeed and what doesn't. So that means what makes them not follow in my footsteps. Do as I say, don't do as I eat. Anytime we think about entrepreneurship, people think it's really sexy. It's something exciting. It's this ticket to big money, right? But there's the whole other side of it. It means it's a really stressful activity. It's a really stressful job. Because when you are a business owner, you are responsible for everything. You are responsible for making decisions. You are responsible for managing your people. You are responsible for making deadlines. And for the women, you also have to, on top of it, take care of the family stuff. And you have to decide what to wear every day. All these stresses kind of add up. And that's what gets them all stressed out. So I focused on 2 specific stressors. One is called role ambiguity. Role ambiguity is when you don't know what actually is going to lead to success. So you are making decisions without exactly knowing what's going to work and what's not going to work. So think about it this way. You are in a game, you're supposed to be playing a game, but you don't know what game it is, you don't know what rules there are, you don't know if you're holding the right equipment, heck, you don't even know if you're on the right playground. It's me watching my first AFL game. Is this soccer? Is this rugby? They're jumping awfully high and those shorts are cute. And is that even a ball? But in a small business context, you are the player, you are the coach, and you are also the sponsor. And that's not easy. The other stressor I looked at was work family conflict. And we all know what that means. That means you have a million balls to juggle, but they are all made up of fire. And you can't drop any of them and you can't get burned. So these stressors don't just make you tired at the end of the day. Over time, they add up. And they can lead to something called emotional exhaustion. And that is a stage of detachment from the activity that you're trying to do. And when you feel that detachment and disconnection, that's when the alcohol companies make their money. And you might say, so what? Get in a line. Right? But you at least have your boss to whinge about. And you still get salary at the end of every fortnight or end of every 2 weeks. But if you are a small business owner and if you are feeling disconnected from your business, what are you going to do? There's no bacon to bring home. That actually affects your business. And on top of it, you have to, and if you have employees, You have to give them their bacon, that means their payroll, and that also adds up. So it's not easy. And on top of all these things, entrepreneurship is just harder for women. So if entrepreneurship was an Olympic sport, men will be running a 100-meter dash. Really hard, right? Women will be running a marathon in stilettos, uphill, in a tornado. Now, I'm telling you, we studied more than 350 business owners. We studied them across America and Australia. Now, America and Australia are two very, very different countries. Would you agree? So, we have our sharks, we have our crocs, we have our drop bears. They have their grizzly bears, they have their bald eagles, and they have their insurrectionists. But one thing that's common across both these countries is that women have to play the game of entrepreneurship on expert mode every single day. So what do? I got 3 steps for you. First step, you have to create a structure. You have to reduce stress by planning, you have to set goals, you have to delegate, and you have to be organized in your tasks. So, essentially, listen to your mom. The second step is manage your work-family conflict. You have to set boundaries. You have to find a balance between work and your life. You have to be willing, you have to learn to say no, and you have to learn to be okay with saying no. As importantly, you have to prioritize. So, don't sweat the petty stuff. And also the advice about petting this very stuff, that's pretty solid. And step 3 is find your support networks. You know, they might be your friends, they might be your family, they might be professionals, they might be the local bar guy. But talk to people. And that's especially for you men. Do not mumble. It's not that hard. No, seriously, talk to people. It helps. So, the advice I have for all these entrepreneurs and small business owners is you are not a human Swiss Army knife. You don't have to do it all. That's right, you don't have to do it all. Don't let stress get to you. Don't let stress drive you to your local drug dealer. So, if you are stressed, take a breath. Take a break. And I can tell you, attending a nerdy Fringe comedy show counts as a good job coming out here. Thank you very much.